that have never been done before.
We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited.
Well, howdy, folks. The time has come. Weaponize your vote, because if you don't, nothing's ever going to change. I'm not even sure that your vote can change it. But rearming Australia is not going to be done with guns. They're going to disarm us that way. And what good would they be to us? At the end of the day, the only weapon we have is our vote. And you must learn how to rearm for that. How are you? Welcome to Friday. Normally Vince would be around. I think Vince might be asleep. He may have had a big night, which is just a tad sad. But if that is the case, he may pop in at some stage later on. If he happens to wake up, the alarm does go off. He does tend to sleep through it just a little bit. I will start off with saying hello to the few people who jumped in early. The lovely Connie was in first up tonight. How are you, darling? I hope you and Alan are well. I've got to give you a call. I've got to come over your way at some stage and say hi. Also to Brett, who was in pretty quick. Brett, silver has further to go down. Yes, I've heard that same thing. We'll talk about that a little later. Peter Grace, nice to have you in, mate. Saw it at $32 spread between spot on a minted 10-ounce bar today. That gap will grow as suppliers can't get it. For those of you that are playing along and haven't really figured it out yet, what we're talking about with the spread is the gap between what the spot price is quoted as being and the actual cost of buying an ounce of silver, if you were able to find one, in a bullion dealer. We'll get back to that in a minute. Brett says, I see a 1,200 gap on 1 kilo bars, Sydney versus Melbourne. It's a joke. I can only say that I haven't seen that gap. That is huge, I've got to admit. And I don't know why it would be different between Sydney and Melbourne unless the stocks were bought way back at a much cheaper rate and they're selling some of it at that rate, maybe. It's a bit weird. All bullion dealers are hedging at the moment. So I think they've basically got a hedge full stop, full time anyway. They buy in the dips and they obviously make their money in the peaks. And there has been a few peaks, and at the moment there is probably a bit of a dip, if that's the way we're going to look at it. In fact, we got another. I showed you last night. Tony sent through a graph for us, which showed the arrow going up, and then overnight, what did we go to bed at? About $117 an ounce, I think it was. And when we woke up this morning, it was somewhere around 105 or 106. Didn't think much of Tony's arrow then, but this is another one he's drawn up for us today. And I've got to say, it's quite in line with everything else I've been hearing about the market. There is a thing called an inverted head and shoulders. Now, I thought I might be able to try and show you said inverted head and shoulders, but I'm not sure that I can. I don't know that I am exactly that smart. The way to do it is to look at the lines that go up and down on the graphs, and that will at some point tell you that a left shoulder was built, then there was a drop, head formed, it grew again, and a right shoulder was built before it kept growing. They call it an inverted head, and I am told we're in the right shoulder building portion of that right now, which means it's going to go up. We have seen it go up today, and in fact, I can share this with you now. You can see here from the drop overnight, it is picking up, sitting currently at 111.39 Australian, and there is every indication it will keep that going that way. However, it is Friday the 13th, folks. So in market terms, anything is possible, and don't they love something like that to play on? So don't sweat it. That's all you can do. Don't sweat it. And for God's sake, don't sell it. The spot price, or the price you would get for selling your silver at the moment, you wouldn't even be able to buy half an ounce back for it, I don't think. You might go close, but it'd be very close. So don't sell it now. I know some of you may be in a position where you just have to. You've got to get money, and I guess if that is the case, you've got to do what you've got to do. But if there is any other way for you to get some finances together, even in the short term, 3 to 6 months, a loan from somebody, do that, because you will be paid back, I believe, and so do much smarter people than me, in the near to medium future. Things are going to start climbing, and it depends on you, I guess, as to when you're going to get out. Gold has dropped back under $5,000 only just, so the market is settling somewhat. I guess it could be on the back of the news that Australia has now got a new coalition leadership. Yay, on Friday the 13th. Oh, shit. Hang on. I might have put the wrong picture up there. Just hang on. There we go. There's the right picture. Angus Taylor elected as the leader of the Liberal Party, and Jane Hume, the deputy leader, in a vote that was 34-17 in the end, sending the White Lady funeral lady back to, I guess, her work. She came out, I must say, Susan Ley did make a very eloquent speech. She could have been bitter. She wasn't. She has decided to quit the parliament, which, after 25 years and being treated like this, I guess is why would you want to stay? She's going to get the gold card for life. She's got the big pension. She's got the great super. So she doesn't need to sit there and take that shit anymore. So she's going to happily pack the white suits and walk out the door, leaving it open for a by-election. Now, the by-election is going to have to happen somewhere in the lead up to or around the budget time. So that'll be interesting to see whether Labor field a candidate at all. The battle right now appears to be in the electorate of Farrer. I think that's how you say it. Appears to be between the Liberals and One Nation. One Nation came out while they wished Susan Ley all the best. It was a bit like a don't let the door hit you in the arse on the way out kind of thing before they announced that they will be running a candidate in that seat. The candidate that I guess gave Ley the hardest time in the last election was an independent, but this independent has a teal slant to her. She doesn't, I don't think, openly admit to that. I could be wrong, but she definitely isn't spoken of in high terms with regards to, I guess, the issues that would concern people like you and I. She does seem to worry about the colour of people's hair and how many nose rings they should be allowed to have and all that kind of shit. So, however, she did come second with about 26% of the vote, I want to say. So I'm not sure. Farrer might be one of those kinds of electorates, a little bit weird in that regard, might have a few more blue-haired, pink-eyed, whatever they are, before other places. It will be a battle. However, Pauline and the team at One Nation have said we are going in there, and wouldn't it be interesting if they won? Why would it be interesting, Carl? Well, it'd give Barnaby somebody to talk to on the floor of the House. They would have 2 votes in the floor of the House. Now, not enough to make any considerable difference, but certainly enough to make both the Liberals and the Labor Party shit scared. Now, what difference will making the Liberal and the Labor Party shit scared be? I don't know. Maybe they'll make mistakes. Maybe they'll speed up. Maybe they'll do whatever. But of course, you'd have to be prepared to think that you were electing something different if you were going to put the Liberal National Coalition back in power. Angus was, very genuine today when he was elected.
It is the greatest honour of my life to be elected as the leader of the Liberal Party. Today I am reminded of my great parents who taught me and my three brothers from a very early age that two of the most important attributes in life were courage and service. That's what life is about, and that's why I'm absolutely determined to fight for our nation.
He gives a good speech, and I want to say I reckon he had a good hand in writing that speech to a point. He went on to say, very accurately, why the Liberals are shit.
We're in this position because we didn't stay true to our core values, because we stopped listening to Australians, because we were attracted to the politics of convenience rather than focusing on the politics of conviction. This ends today. This ends.
Speaks a good game. Okay. You know, got to say, when all this was coming out of him, I was thinking pretty good. Then he made a big statement.
We will get rid of Labor's bad carbon taxes on the family vehicle, on manufacturing and food in this country, and of course on electricity.
Well, got to say that's great. Didn't say how he was going to do that, all right. But he does think that things have to change.
Choice is simple for the Liberal Party: change or die, and I choose change.
But there are priorities. And in the Liberal Party, the priority seems to have been a priority of convenience. There wasn't too much opposing going on. Did you think that? Well, apparently, first priorities changed.
Labor has undermined our standard of living and has failed to protect our way of life. And I say to Australians, the first priority of the Liberal Party now, under my leadership, will be to restore our standard of living and protect our way of life.
Well, that's certainly something I can get behind. Restoring our standard of living, I think, is one of the biggest issues that we need to face. And I don't think that there are too many parliamentarians willing to face that. They've got to be pretty courageous. But I guess aside from immigration, energy is one of the big issues that we face. And a question I want to ask you tonight, and I just want you to put it in the chat, or if you're not watching live, and you can leave this in the comments. I genuinely want to know and get a kind of feeling for your ideas on nuclear power. So I want you to leave a Y for yes or an N for no in the chat now, and I'll try and scan down and have a bit of a look and see who's done that. You don't need to leave a comment or anything else, just a Y or an N for yes or no. Would you support nuclear power in Australia? Y or N? And leave that in the comments as well, and I will do a little pocket survey here. But Angus does seem to have some ideas on
Australia
energy.
needs an energy policy that is based on common sense, not Labor's net zero ideology.
He didn't say that they were going to go with the nuclear policy, which they did sort of put out, I think, before the last election. But then they also put out a tax policy that was going to tax everybody more. And I think he, Angus, was in part responsible for that. Wasn't he the former Shadow Treasurer or thereabouts? Jane Hume, the new deputy, has been performing very well in the assassination, I beg your pardon, in the lead up to Susan Lay's departure as leader. And she has had her eyes on leadership for some time. She's a Victorian senator. And I must say, after watching her today, I believe that she speaks very well and has great intention. I'd be a little bit concerned running into this woman at the moment. But, well, let's hear what she had to say first.
We know the challenge that faces us. We know that many people have lost faith. Angus and I, and indeed every member of our party room, will be focused on delivering a Liberal Party that is driven by courage and conviction.
I don't know if it's just me, but I haven't seen any courage in the Liberal Party in a long time. I've seen convictions, but mostly of the criminal kind that have gone uncharged. I haven't heard or seen anything out of these two today that says what's going to change, other than things are apparently going to change. Well, what hasn't changed is that there's still division inside the Liberal Party. The vote was 34-17. That means that there are 17 people who didn't support the new leader and deputy leader of this party. So let's see what they can come up with. Will they be able to come up with anything different to One Nation? Or are they simply going to steal One Nation's policies, One Nation's plans, One Nation's ideas, One Nation's speeches? Will they adopt, albeit to a more moderate extent, a position on immigration which isn't quite in line with what they've had? In fact, it is extremely radically stronger, I think would be the idea. Do any of you actually believe, because I'm not sure that I do you believe they're offering genuine change, or are you just seeing this as the next people lining up to stick their snout in the trough? I don't know that we can say they're ready to stick their snout in the trough yet. I'm sure they are. What they realise, or are beginning to realise at least, that the public, the Australian public, has woken up a bit. But Angus Taylor was quoted in a press conference today. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure that you see those core Liberal values, those core Liberal priorities, back, front and centre in what we talk about every day. And that includes restoring Australia's standard of living and protecting their way of life. Because that's what I think Australians want to see. That sentence caught me out because of his use of the word there. T-H-E-I-R. That means that the way of life that I assume you and I lead is different to the life and expectations that others might have. Those that refer to Australia almost in the third person. So I wonder whether or not that's something worth considering going forward, keeping an eye on the language that these new leaders are using in the Liberal Party. Because if they're putting up a us and them scenario, that nothing's changed. They're still the elites. They're trying to placate us like animals in the cage. You know, keep the pets in the zoo calm. Be polite, smile, look like you're one of them for a while. I just get that kind of creepy little feeling about all of this and their use of the language, including restoring Australia's, not Australians, Australia's standard of living and protecting their way of life. Shouldn't it have been our way of life? Even if it was a misspell Australia's, Australians, shouldn't it be protecting our way of life? And this is where I think is the disconnect between the Liberal Party and at the moment One Nation, who very definitely identified that it is our way of life. It is we, the people, that are enjoying this fabulous country and are being browbeaten, knocked on the bonce, having bits and pieces taken from us willy-nilly, being lied to, catfished, nearly said gas-fished. Don't know what the hell gas-fished is. And, yeah, you wind up falling apart. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the language changing to things like working for us all. We, the Liberal Party, are working for you, Deb Shippard, working for you, Sunflower. We can identify individuals in the herd. We can see difference. We understand sometimes those differences matter. At the moment, I don't think the Liberal Party can see the herd at all. They're like a dog on heat. The boy dog chasing the girl dog. Who is the Labor Party? And she's leading them all over the place. And whenever she slows down long enough, the Liberals catch up and they're joined together for a while. About 20 years so far. We need a very big bucket of water or two long fingers up each date. They need to be separated. And I reckon Pauline Hanson has the fingers for it, just between you, me, and the gatepost. Vincenzo has ordained to join us this evening. You've woken up. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah, you're right about the wake up. I just did 2 seconds ago.
All right. Well, I won't ask you any historic questions. You've slept through the new awakening of the Liberal Party today. I know that we've sort of talked about what's going on there. What are your thoughts? Is this going to make a big change in the direction of the party's favours?
I don't think. I think there's too much of a movement happening at the moment. So I don't know what Liberals doing. I'll catch up on that when I watch the start of the show. But I think there's too much. People are suffering too much now, and they're just moving, and that's it. That's just my thoughts.
Nuclear power. What do you think about that from a perspective of lowering our energy costs?
100% brilliant idea. There's a couple of ways they can do that nowadays. Solar's great, but it's not consistent. Wind's great, but it's not consistent. But a nuclear power, definitely a consistent thing. I know we had lots of scariness because of Japan and the leaks and Chernobyl and whatever, but really, in today's, if they spent the time and we did it properly, right, I would say that's something we should be doing. Right, definitely something we should be doing, and something that has there been some movement today that I don't know about?
Well, we now have a new leader of the Liberal Party, obviously, and
that happened. I didn't see us sleep for all the good stuff. Well, was it worth it?
That happened at 9 o'clock this morning. Hang on a minute. I can show you exactly, because you probably missed the joke at the front of the show. Here are the new leader and deputy. Oh, sorry, wrong picture. That's them. Anyway, ran the joke for a second time. Don't think it was any better the first time. But the Liberal Party did point out, I think, prior to the last election or just afterwards, that in the last 9 months, they've thrown out the idea that they're not opposed to nuclear power, and nor should the country be opposed to it. I don't think there's too many people of a certain age, and I'm talking about young'uns, who have been around while there has ever been some kind of nuclear emergency. I have a vague recollection of the 3 Mile Island incident back in the 70s, I want to say that was. And I haven't heard of any reactors blowing up anywhere around the world other than Fukushima, which did take a, Guinness World Record size tsunami to trigger. And if we're honest, Japan is on a volcanic fault line. You probably shouldn't be building nuclear reactors on fault lines. However, it is a testament to the strength and the technology involved today in these reactors that only one of them blew up. There were 9 on site at Fukushima. So I think it was only one that actually blew its lid. So good deal, I would have thought. And the power benefits to the nation would be huge. If you were worried about coal as a dirty form of energy, well, we're the ones that dig the uranium out of the ground. And right now at Roxby Downs, there are large works going on, large expansion works going on, because, you know, not only do they dig the uranium out of the ground, they process the yellow cake there as well. They do all sorts of bits and pieces at Roxby Downs. It has the ability to power our nation from here basically into eternity and give us all sorts of new power options going forward. Nuclear energy has been powering Europe and America for, you know, the last 50 or more years. We're not having nuclear reactors blowing up. There aren't meltdowns. People aren't dying. Chernobyl, I guess, is the last one people really remember. And I think some of us are going to find that Chernobyl wasn't just a nuclear reactor meltdown. It was what was underneath Chernobyl that was actually being attacked. So there are some interesting stories there. There are a couple of people I noticed who are in the no court, Donna being one of them. But I'm very interested. There's only been 2 no's so far to a very, very large number of yeses. And I imagine once people have got a chance to commentate and put their comment in after the show, we're probably going to see a pretty interesting split. It may well go 50-50. I'm just wondering whether or not a Liberal Party who guaranteed, if elected, to start instigating a nuclear power station or 2, pardon me, in places like South Australia, Victoria and Queensland, New South Wales, where they're going to fall off the grid, particularly in New South Wales, because their big battery blew up and isn't going to be able to accept any of the power that supposedly will be sent to it by these god-awful wind farms that they've set up. They're basically going to start again. It'll be another 5 or 6 years before they can rebuild the battery, and at our cost, at the cost to the people, because it's all subsidised, remember. So would you support a Liberal National Party or One Nation, who I think have a policy to bring in a nuclear power station? Would you support them? And have a think about this. If the Liberals and Nationals do steal the guts of One Nation policy, is that going to encourage you to vote for them rather than One Nation, based on the fact that, oh, well, they've got more experience in their ranks? Well, was that you just choking back?
That was me just doing it.
So you don't believe that you'd do that?
Seeing they're stealing One Nation's policies, why not give the actual one, give One Nation the chance? Because we've had the Libs and the Labors for so long. What's the frigging point, right? They haven't made the changes now, and as it is, before they even look at doing a nuclear power station, they have to repeal a certain law so they can. So, yeah, right. I think it's time that we took the 2 halves of the same cheek of the bum and gave it, get 2 people there, kick each side and kick them out. That's where I'm at. And I think a lot of Australians are at the same point. They've just had enough, right?
I agree. But, and I've had this conversation, I think I mentioned it last night, but I may have mentioned it before. I believe that if One Nation were to be elected to power, and let's say they won with a huge majority, they have to fill every ministry. And as I pointed out in last night's show, Labor have managed to fill every ministry with people who have absolutely no skills in that area whatsoever. And if they have had people in their ranks with skills appropriate to an area, Labor have worked assiduously to make sure that the two are never connected. because they don't want people who know shit and know what to do. Let's say they don't want accountants working in treasury or finance, right? They want somebody who's grown up as a political staffer, went to university, joined the Young Labor Party, went to work for some, state politician, wound up working their way through the ranks up until, you've done a lot of good things for us, we're going to give you a seat, Albo, because that's exactly what happened to him. And, shit, here we are today. Scary friggin' thoughts. Scary friggin' thoughts. Thorium would be best, but it's expensive and probably not economic. Yeah, true.
It also has a different half-life too. So, but as far as I'm concerned, all right, does it really matter that we get good average of workers for One Nation that have been standing up for the people now? That we have people with the experience. It's just not the experience that others is. I mean, I interviewed the interview last night, right?
Kim
when
Hinton.
I did it for Kim Hanton. Yeah. See, he could be a police minister. Why? Because he's an ex-copper. So, all right, he could also be defense minister. Why? Because he's ex-defense. Right, there are people out there with building experiences. There's another one in the One Nation group who's a builder. What do you think he could do? Housing minister? See, you look at these parties and you say, these guys that have never been in politics. Well, that's just the point. They've never been in politics. Do they have real-world experience in certain areas? Certainly do. So you go through your crowd of people and you say, oh, you've got that experience, you've got that experience, you've got that experience. So at least you have some idea on what's going on. So when they try to be bamboozled by the bureaucrats of the local system, they might be able to say no, because, hey, that's not how it really works on the ground, because I've been on the ground. So that's my thoughts on that. You don't know until you look at each person individually, and that goes to any party. But somebody who's been a lawyer and just been a lawyer all their life wouldn't know shit about how to fix a computer.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? And that's where they rely on the advice of the bureaucrat under them, who's been in the department of fixing computers since they got out of high school and knows where everybody is buried. Every trick is hidden and every shank on the people is pulled. And that's where we get into trouble again. So that's why I'm concerned. It's the devil you know, the devil you don't. At the end of the day, it's the bureaucrats that will govern whether or not we get change in this country, unless we can thin the bureaucratic ranks or get them scared enough of the people so that they actually do their job. I beg your pardon. They think they're doing their job, but their job is to the people of this nation, not to the current sitting minister, not to the current sitting party. I believe our public servants' jobs are to the people of this nation, with always, first and foremost in their mind, the best interests for the people of this nation. And that might mean that we've got the wrong people making decisions in the public service. And that has to change. So, just my thoughts.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad to see that.
It's its environment.
I agree with you.
It's its environment.
I don't know why we're having a Commonwealth custodians conversation in our chat tonight. As somebody just discovered Commonwealth custodians, you might want to go back and look at a few shows of mine about them.
Yeah, for a while back.
They're in here.
Free dumb movement.
They're in here looking for your email address. They want to take whatever information you've got to offer, and that could only just be your name, address, and phone number or email address. But the last interactions that I had with these people They were working behind the scenes to build up a database of as many people as they could to try and tell them that they had the solution, a solution that they weren't prepared to share or work with anybody else on, but were very happy to steal others' ideas from. So you can jam your Commonwealth custodians up their ass until they're prepared to come out and admit what they did and apologise for it. Because one of the first things I would hope that they would teach you is that you need to act with honour. Something they've failed to do, sadly. Zelinski has been off to Davos, and then I didn't see it at the time, but I did see it today. I'd love to play this too.
We need something to replace the old world order with, but where is the line of leaders who are ready to act? Act now, on land, in the air, at the sea, to build a new global order. You can't build the new world order out of words. Only actions create real order.
Right. He was begging for money, so to speak, at Davos. Now, there is a German lady who is probably going to wind up running for Chancellor in Germany. That's her. Her name is Alice Weidel, or Weidel, W-E-I-D-E-L. She made this statement. I may not read it all because it is quite lengthy, but by God, it's good. We might just see how I go. She made this statement a few days ago. Zelinski, you are a pathetic clown and a beggar. How dare you demand anything again? Demand from us, the Germans, who are trying with all our might to save our country from collapse, to which you have contributed with your endless demands and irresponsible policies. You come to us with an outstretched hand like a beggar from a train station, but at the same time, you behave like a capricious, arrogant dictator who imagines himself the center of the universe around which all the planets must revolve. You have turned your country into a bottomless pit into which our money, our energy, and our future are draining away. And yet you still dare to lecture us about how to live. Don't make me laugh, Mr. Comedian, who still hasn't stepped out of this role. You talk about freedom and democracy, but you are the one who banned all opposition parties, shut down television channels, silenced all dissenters, leaving only your own lying propaganda mouthpiece. You are the one who fears your own people more than any external enemy. Your approval rating has long since plummeted, and you know it perfectly well. That's why you're clinging to power with a death grip, using the war as a fig leaf. You are a usurper, a dictator who fears even the shadow of his own people. Yet you are not afraid to send them to certain death. Your freedom in this is the freedom for you and your gang to plunder the country while ordinary Ukrainians die for your palaces, yachts, and offshore accounts. Your face, Mr. Zelinski, has become synonymous with hypocrisy. You're calling on us for solidarity, but solidarity with whom? With a regime that is mired in corruption from head to toe, a regime where every official is an unstable leech, a regime that itself provokes conflicts instead of seeking peaceful solutions, as responsible leaders do. You, who demonstratively rejected the Minsk agreements, who sabotaged any attempts at a peace settlement, who proudly declared that severing of all ties leading to peace, you don't want peace, Mr. Zelinski. You need war, because war is your chance to stay in power, to continue lining your pockets and laundering the billions we send you. It goes on, but can I tell you, I think if she were to stand up and, I know she is planning on standing up to run for German politics and stand for the Chancellor's job. That is a very strong voice for Germany. And I have a friend, I've spoken about him many times, who lives in Germany. We've known each other since we were 5. And he tells me Germany is, he even warned me from going to Germany. Don't come here. It's an awful country. It's not what it used to be. You know, it's not what I would remember, but the last time I was there, I was 10. So he's warned not to come, and I'd love to go and see him because he's quite unwell at the moment. And he's the one who's telling me to stay out of the country, not just because it's freezing cold and probably got 9 foot of snow at the front door too, but it's a very unpleasant country for a variety of reasons. And there are an awful lot of Ukrainians who've made it into Germany now via Poland, where they were exiting themselves out. So I thought that whole Zelinski thing was well worth playing, simply to say that there is a woman of immense strength and ability standing up in Germany. And for those people who would accuse me of saying, oh, you know, you're a woman hater, I'm not. I love competent, smart people, full stop. What I don't like is incompetence. What I don't like is lies and obfuscation and, you know, that sort of crap that doesn't help us. And God knows we've had enough of that going on. Hey, now I want to show you a couple of other little things, and Vincenzo may or may not wish to join me in here for this. This got posted up from a friend in Hervey Bay yesterday. And I thought, oh, well, that's a nice picture of the postman. But apparently there is a story behind that shirt the postman is wearing. Australia Post has, for whatever reason, decided to go and get all its staff new shirts, particularly its outdoor staff. The ones who go out and do the posty sort of stuff have to ride around all day in the sun. Now, these shirts have to fulfill a certain sun factor, I guess. I never knew that you could get burnt through clothes, but apparently you can, because Australia Post have managed to spend, we're not quite sure how many millions, on new clothes for their staff, but their staff are coming back sunburned. I don't know how you get a T-shirt tab. I mean, you're understanding the issue, aren't you? I mean, you know, there is a physical block, unless the things are so thin, or there is some other form of radiation raining down on us, I guess, that goes straight through your clothes, but then it wouldn't matter how good your shirt was, would it? So it just got me thinking. Vincenzo, you have thoughts?
Yeah, they obviously didn't buy it from our merch. That's why.
Obviously didn't buy it from our merch. No, our T-shirts guaranteed to block out the sun. Have absolutely no fear.
Right.
And
sorry.
And if you want to keep, you've got a head like Vince, you can be assured that our hat will also.
Hang on. There we go.
There you go. Well, we're trying to sell our hat, not my places. But there you go. If you've got
I know. This is what
you need a bit of sun protection.
I've got two.
Our hat. It looks like our hat has the little holes in it. So look, you might wind up with a little bit of spotty sunburn through our hat. You might still want to put on.
That is true.
They're breathable
because we need them breathable in our current environment. So that's why we chose those.
Yeah, 100%. Now, Vince, you're a weather watcher from way back, aren't you?
I keep an eye on it. You know, being out on the farm when I was out farming and whatever. Yes, so we used to watch the weather quite a lot.
So some folks sent me some pictures the other day. They were up at Longreach, and they happened to be around a certain apparatus when it was either turned on or turned up, one of the two. Said it made a rather large humming noise before that hum sort of dissipated. It was sort of like power injected into this thing, and everything was vibrating from the power, and then it just got used to it and everything stopped vibrating. Now, they said, oh, this is the harp installation. Now, I don't believe that is the harp installation. The harp installation that I've seen is a different shape. at long reach. I think that is part of the over-the-horizon radar system
It's a
that
long wire.
Australia developed. I beg your pardon?
It's a long wire.
Yeah.
Right. So there's multiple frequencies on that. That's got multiple long wires on it. I was in radios as well. So I did a little bit of amateur stuff when I was younger. And that's effectively a massive, massive antenna system. For what?
So,
I don't know, but that's what it is.
Antennas receive, they don't, or do they transmit as well?
No, they transmit as well.
Okay. So I'm of the belief that this is the over-the-horizon radar system. The Yanks were very upset at Australia when we developed this. CSIRO developed this back in the, I want to say, 80s and early 90s. Americans came out with their first stealth fighter aircraft, I think was the F-117 and the B-1 Bone, which were boasting radar invisibility. And then the Australians demonstrated this radar system, which is completely different to anything else at the time. This system bounces a signal off the ionosphere and then down on top of its targets. Rather than looking from the ground up, it was looking from the ionosphere down. And it identified their stealth aircraft immediately from memory. They couldn't hide from it. So it could, though, bearing in mind this would be, like I say, this technology is quite old. So it may well have been upgraded. So now that it does form part of the weather machine that is up that part of the world, and God knows we know it's there. And we actually saw not evidence of it. We saw evidence of just some natural weather formation, I think it was here around the area where I'm at yesterday. Now, that is a roll cloud, which is a phenomenon that happens at a certain time of year. I'm not sure what it takes to create it, but that cloud is hundreds of kilometers long and rolls up from the bottom to the top. It's like that cloud just keeps turning and churning over the top of it. I know that there are businesses in far north Queensland, and I want to say this happens out Winton Way for about a month a year. People will go and get into light aircraft and just wait for these clouds to form, because they literally go for hundreds of kilometers, and they're this beautiful white wave in a sea of blue sky. Obviously a pretty shitty day there. Yesterday, I think this was taken. So, but yeah, if you've ever wondered, that's a roll cloud, and we get some bloody good thunderstorms around this part of the world too. So it could well have turned into a cell, I guess, at some point down the road, but it rolled on past, if you like, what we were doing.
There's been some interesting pictures that you've seen around with cloud formations with the wave formats in them, like they got. It's hard to explain, but that you look at them and you can literally see that it's a wave format. Now, when I see those up in the sky, I'm very familiar with that type of wave format from my internet days and working on towers and bits and pieces. So, yes, there's definitely a manipulation that happens out there. There's no way that we've got the wind in the skies going, I'm going to make a strip here, a strip here, a strip here, a strip here, a strip here through the wave format. So, yeah, and they've been shown in live so that you know they're not generated. And that's half of our problem. We need to look at what is now generated by AI nowadays and what's not. So,
yeah.
They've been around for a while.
The company that is being referred to in that the text from Andrew is, I'm just trying to think of the name of it, but it has been predominantly used in America and funded by Americans. The guy who runs it is former CSIRO Australia, and what he has developed is a form of rocket or a rocket technology dispersal system where he fires a rocket into hurricanes in America. Now, there were a couple of big hurricanes last season where they came to America's aid, if you like. A couple of big systems. There was a Category 5 or something that was looking to grow to a Category 5 coming across and heading to the Florida Panhandle and going across Florida. It would have been uber destructive. That, after one of these Australian weather company rockets was fired into it, went from almost a Category 5 down to a Category 3 or below as it crossed over the Florida coast. So that was deemed a success from what I heard, but there were other attempts and other experiments, including, I believe, last Christmas here in Australia, not last Christmas, the Christmas 24 Christmas, where the cyclone came down and basically went into northern New South Wales and back up into southeast Queensland, and we hadn't had cyclones in that part of the world in forever years. So I believe they were involved in an experiment then with dispersing or breaking up that system as it had doubled back on itself and was coming back into southeast Queensland. But from that time, I haven't heard anything more about it other than the tests in America were reviewed and judged successfully by the independent people who view and pay for those things, I suppose. And I haven't heard a bloody word out of it here in Australia. But I will think of the name of that company and I'll go and look into it and try and find out a little bit more. Sandy says, sorry, she's been in the ICU. Just been listening. Our donkey lady who I'm sitting with now. Got liver disease and kidney failure. Sandy. I remember, lady. So I'm very sorry you're having that evening tonight. It's never easy, and I don't know how you do it. There are carers are just gifted with stronger stuff, I think, because they are able to give all their love to these animals and know that, you know, at some point it might have to be that the safest, best and most loving thing you can do is help them on their journey over that rainbow bridge. And that can be very, very difficult. So, you know, thoughts are with you, Sandy, tonight. And Baz, of course, so who's probably got to get the tractor out at some stage. It's raining here, persistently precipitating, which means it's great weather to sit inside and not sleep like Vince has been doing. He could have been checking out the Epstein files and trying to coordinate things.
Not going to waste my time on that. If something that's Australian, fine. At the rest of at this moment, we have much more to deal with in Australia. But Epstein, I don't give a crap about, to be honest.
So an old mate of mine, old radio mate of mine, came out and posted something today saying that he had access to information. He didn't want to say where it came from, that a whole different Jeffrey Epstein address book had been made, and it was full of different contact numbers for all the elites. I want to say that the person who came out with this is potentially a pilot, and that pilot was involved in flying to Epstein Island, or the closest island to it, which is St. Martin or somewhere like that, on a very, very, very regular basis. There were people at that island almost every day. And by way of proof, posted up this. Now, I don't know if anybody of you are interested, but this is apparently the secondary or dark, what they call the dark contact book for Naomi Campbell. Now, that lists addresses in London, New York, Brazil, North Carolina, a few other different places. So apparently there is a lot more of that to come out in the near future. I've asked him if he can get any more of it or wants to share. And I haven't heard back. So we'll wait and see. But we might find a lot more celebrity juice coming our way in the near future. I hope it comes like that. I'd love to see the celeb world torn down or just exposed for what it is. Manipulative bastards who have been doing horrible things to our kids forever.
The exposure is good. The exposure is good, but I think we only need to really concentrate on what's relative to here in our country, effectively. I mean, if we found a couple of our prime ministers or some of the people we currently have in government on that list, that would be interesting and relative, right? But generally speaking, right, we need to look at Australia being able to look after itself in the long run, right? And not be part of this globalist movement that's happening, which is, well, let's face it, it's now getting a bit of a big kick in the ass, right? No more money going off to Ukraine for starters. What was the last lot they did? 95 million or something, they said, this year or at the end of last year?
Yeah, we've given over $500 million so far to Ukraine, and I don't know how much of that is in cash or aid. Aid is not something you and I understand in what would ordinarily be a term we might understand. It's not necessarily meaning we're throwing cash at things. Aid can be different things. We can throw wheat at them and all that sort of stuff. But there is substantial amounts of cash that have been going there, and certainly a steady supply of our weapons as well. Vince, can you just check whether or not the shop's working? Because I was going to bring it up to show people your fabulous T-shirt work, and I can't get anything to load. So merch.vofhq.com is where you can find not just the shop, but if you want to help out the Donkey Sanctuary, then you can do so by buying a $2 ticket, now $750 lottery. I think we've got only about 750 tickets left. Oh, that's not quite right. We've probably got 650 tickets left. If you'd like to buy 2 or 10, then we would love for you to be involved. Merch.vofhq.com and click on the Sanctuary $750 lottery link and purchase away. That would be great. Or you can help us out with buying a shirt or a hat or a cup or whatever else Vince has been able to load up. Because right now,
you can't
I can't get it to load anything.
No, you can't. It's just had a glitch. So
it's had a glitch?
It's had a glitch.
Mate, are the trolls attacking us?
Who knows? It might be because we're using a organisation called Printful, so that the new merch that we are putting up now can actually get out to you guys a lot quicker than me waiting for have 5 or 6 so I can make an order. Every now and then there might be an API glitch. All I can say is just come back to it later. And it's just something that's popped up. So I'll just go in and check what's going on.
Good. Well, you do that. And I'm going to say love you and leave you because we've been going for an hour, so it's time to go. You were just late to the party.
Yeah. Yeah, you know me, right? I sleep when I have to sleep, and I'm awake when I'm awake, and that's why nobody can employ me. I'm unemployable, but for many other reasons. All right, everybody, this is my time to do this.
Vincenzo says goodbye, and I'll leave you with a couple of things. Well, I'll leave you with one thing. I got something I'm looking to sell. Now, this is a fairly specific thing. Many of you will have absolutely no need or use or desire for it. But I have one of these to sell you. Not the containers, but the thing that goes on top of it. It's still in the box. It's brand new, never been set up. And I have one sitting here that I would love for you to have if you want a dome. Now, you can mount them on containers, but clearly you can mount them on anything you like. And they are very strong, great in the wind. And by that, I mean, if you've got them on a container, they don't fly away. that they're all welded there, and the whole thing's strapped down. You probably want my mate Dwayne to come and put the plastic lid on it for you, because he knows how to strap them down so they don't move. But very reasonable price on that if you are at all interested. And you can email me, carl@vofhq.com. It's priced to go. And I have some fence stuff, pool fencing. I like that. I don't know how many meters of this would be. Most of it, if not all of it, is brand new. It's just been lying on the property for a while, and it's been on the ground, had weeds and dirt and God knows what drive through it. But it, brushed down and a good wash. It's all pretty good stuff. You can see I got quite a lot of it. So if you're interested in pool fencing, then this is all Cass's stuff. I'm just trying to help her get rid of it. You can let me know, carl@vofhq.com. And there's a bit more stuff there too. In fact, if you are looking for a caravan that you just want to set on a property and, have for accommodation somewhere, I can help you out with one of those pretty cheaply for a couple of grand. And very nice inside. There's nothing wrong with it outside. It's just not the kind of thing that requires a little bit of work on the chassis if you wanted to tow it around Australia. So I'd stick it in a paddock and call it a spare room, build something around it that you can live out of it with, if that's what you so desire. Got one of those, which you can probably see in the background of this. It's the little grey one there on the right-hand side. And that other big one that you can see in the background is also for sale. That is practically brand new. It's only done 3,000 kilometres. It is a top-end XC17, and it's an off-road camper, and very nice. Which I think new you pay over $90,000+ for, but the deal I can give you on that is considerable. Put it that way. You'll save 20-30 grand. So if you're interested, give me a call or an email, at least, carl@vofhq.com, and we'll see if we can't offload a bit of this stuff and get it out of the driveway, which is currently where it's sitting. Not such a bad thing, but it takes up a lot of room. As for the weekend, folks, who knows what's going to happen over this weekend? There are certain levels of madness that take place, and most of it will be on the market between now and about 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Don't go sweating what happens with the stock market, the gold and silver prices at the moment. Just have faith in all the experts are saying the same thing. The price is going up. It could go up to $140 an ounce, 160, but there are yet more experts saying it's more likely to go to 500 and to 600. And there is a lot of evidence now being shown to the public as to exactly why silver has been so undervalued and who has been suppressing the price of it. What that information is proving, that while all the dickheads may be on the road, the corrupt ones, the rich corrupt ones, are only driving to their big banks so that they can rob us. And that takes dickheads into a whole new realm of bastardry. Have a great weekend, folks. Be safe on the road. Avoid the dicks.
And stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?
Let's rock!